Full body training is making a comeback because it's super effective and it's time efficient. There's a reason why when you look at the best of the best natural physiques, that many of them train full body. It just works. Y'all really enjoyed the first episode where I take this time tested system, put my own spin on it, and then make it accessible for you so that you can know how to do your own full body training splits. I take the exact sets, reps, exercises, why I pick them, and then substitutions that you could make so that you could get jacked and stacked with full body, because I love it personally. Anyway, like I said, we're gonna head to the gym. I'll talk to you there.
What's up, fellas? So for this session, it's basically a back attack. So a ton of arms, posterior chain, and then just some touch-ups for the pecs with smaller exercises. If you didn't catch episode 1 real quick, I just want to define what I mean when I say full body training day. For me, that just means doing both upper and lower body exercises on the same day. Simple as that. Episode 3, that being said, is going to cover how I like to incorporate weighted push-ups, dips, and squats into a full body split. So let me know if you want to see that. Anywho, first exercise of the day is weighted pull-ups, my favorite exercise by far. Now there's 3 things that I want to cover with these. 1, how you order your exercises, super important. 2, range of motion. And 3, form. Now in terms of ordering your exercises, I've experimented with doing arms first before these, trying to get a better stimulus out of my bicep exercises, but I prefer doing this first because I find that hitting arms before pull-ups just takes away from my performance too much, and it doesn't really do that the other way around. Now, form-wise, range of motion and your form you use go hand in hand. You want to use the most range of motion that you can, and throughout that range of motion, with each rep, you really focus on controlling that eccentric. You don't have to go super slow, but you should feel your eccentric. When I do all that, nothing really works my lats, rear delts, teres major, or traps holistically quite like this exercise. Next up is my first superset, and this one is brutal. Now for these, I drop off all the weight that I was just using on weighted pull-ups once I fall to the bottom of my desired rep range. And then I just hit chest to bar pull-ups, and I superset those with back extensions. That's gonna cook your entire back. Now, if you were one of those fancy muscle drawings where you're highlighted to show what muscles are activated, your whole back would be red. Anyway, dropping the weight off the weighted pull-ups is something that I got from Dr. Mike Israetel. It's called a down set. You do that when you want to drive more volume into a specific movement pattern without falling out of your desired rep range. This superset works really nice just because, for one, hanging from a pull-up bar after you do a set of paused back extensions like that helps to alleviate that big booty daddy pump that you get. Let me know if I have any big papa pump enjoyers in the comments down below. I never superset weighted pull-ups with anything that's like a back extension though, just because that's too intense. So just make sure that if you use this workout, you do the same thing. Now, in terms of why I pause my back extensions, I do them 2 ways actually. RDL style and paused, and then I'll combine the 2. That's just to really punish your hamstrings, bro, and get more out of less weight, or maximize the stimulus to fatigue ratio if you want to use the GigaBrain term. After that first superset, I'm toast, so I hit something like this, like a pec fly and a rear delt exercise, just 1 or 2 sets each, just to touch up the pecs and the rear delts, but also to give my lats and hamstrings a little break from the destruction that I just subjected them to before I head to my next superset. Now, depending on how fit you are, you can superset the pec flies and the rear delt flies, or reverse pec deck, whatever you choose. Or you can do your pec flies, rest, and then do your reverse pec deck or rear delt flies. But I think most of y'all are going to be able to superset those no problem. The option's there for you though if you need it. This next superset is pretty cool because I get to laser target specific parts of my back and obviously my hamstrings because I'm doing hamstring curls. But I just worked the heck out of my back and my lower back and my hamstrings and everything with big, generally targeted exercises. So here I'm biasing the lats specifically with my form, and then obviously, as I said, the hamstring curls are an isolation exercise. Form-wise though, I'm keeping my arms tucked on those rows, and I'm not trying to recruit my traps and my upper back at all because they're cooked and they don't need any more volume. Remember, I did weighted pull-ups, chest to bar pull-ups, and then paused hip hinges. That's absolutely brutal on all of those muscle groups. So I round the upper back a little bit, and pull just until I feel my arms hit my body. Then I reach, get a giga stretch on the lats, and then I complete the set. Now ham curls are really simple, bro. Just hold the peak if you're doing them lying, and then lower them under the control if you're doing seated. I do both styles just on different days. Just keep that in mind, you'll be good to go. Finally, this last part of the workout is my favorite part because I get to train my biceps and then touch up the calves and the abs. Now I'm supersetting my curls with what I call floater exercises. Floater exercises are basically exercises that you can superset with anything. So it's exactly what it sounds like. It's back to back to back work. So incline curls will get superset with calves, will get superset with abs, so on and so forth. Now I just made a really good video about 3 of my favorite bicep exercises, form mistakes, how to fix them, and then variations to use. I'm gonna let y'all watch that after this video instead of just talking about it here. But just in general, you just wanna keep your elbow and your shoulder stable, and that's as simple as I'm gonna make it here. I'm just gonna finish up this infographic, which was a lot of fun, by the way, guys. I hope you really enjoyed it. Let me know what you think about it. But I got a compliment on my calves recently. Guys, look, I told you, man, all you need is seated calf raises. A compliment on the calves is incredible just because we all know how hard it is to develop your calves, or seemingly. It's not as hard as a lot of people think. I'm gonna make a video on that in of itself soon. But yeah, man, all I've done is spam seated calf raises and it worked really well for me. I'm gonna make a full video about it. I'm gonna finish up here and then I'll meet y'all back outside to talk variations and then how you can make this template your own. I'll see y'all there.
Through the power of editing, we are back outside. That was a lot of fun to put together for y'all. Just to close things off, I want to talk about different variations that you can use to make this program your own. Now, I start off with weighted pull-ups because I really connect with that movement on a personal level for holistic back development. But you could really sub in any movement for the back that does that for you. Now, I am going to say keep it to vertical or horizontal pulling, but just a few that you can try are dumbbell seal rows, which I also really connect with. You can use a weighted inverted row, or you could use a chin to bar lat pull down if you really like lat pull downs. Now, in terms of that first superset, you really want to make the exercises that you change here a natural continuation of whatever you were just doing. So I start off with the weighted pull-ups and then I do chest to bar pull-ups. So if you do something like a weighted inverted row, just do a chest to bar body weight inverted row. Same if you pick dumbbell seal rows, you just do like a easier body weight variations, more range of motion. You really want to make sure that you make it an easier variation so that you can stay in that relevant rep range like we talked about in the infographic. As well, you're going to be supersetting it with a hip hinge, so you don't want to do something heavy and superset it with something heavy. I'll talk about that in this video here. You can check that out after this one. In terms of your hip hinges, I really am going to recommend that you just do back extensions, but if you wanted to make a substitution because you connect better with a different exercise, I really recommend starting to look at the dumbbell RDL. That's really, honestly, very convenient just because you can carry the dumbbells to wherever you need to superset things at. So that's going to be my first line of defense if you're not doing back extensions. I really like a barbell RDL for the same reason. You can take your barbell anywhere in the gym and then do your supersets next to a pull-up bar or next to the rings or whatever you're doing. Things I don't recommend are conventional deadlifts. It's just not enough stimulus for the fatigue that you're generating. And then as well, when you start to fatigue, your form may deteriorate. And that's not something that you really want to introduce with conventional deadlifting. I'm not going to recommend sumo deadlifts for the same reason. In terms of that second superset where I do the lat biased cable rows and then the ham curls, obviously fill in your ham curl of choice. That's a Nordic, it's seated, lying, whatever the case may be. Fill in with a ham curl. For the lat biased row or pull, I'm really going to recommend filling in with whatever you didn't do at the beginning of the workout. So I didn't do horizontal pulling, so I did horizontal pulling here. Much the same, if you pick a horizontal pull, pick a vertical pull here, specifically a neutral grip pull down or pull up. Now, if you wanted to go horizontal because you went vertical in your first exercise, one that's really convenient, just like with the dumbbell RDL, is a lat biased dumbbell row. Again, because you can take that dumbbell anywhere in the gym and superset it with wherever your hamstring curl is at. That's going to prevent a lot of the walking back and forth that can happen when you're doing supersets at the gym. Last up, curls. Now that first curl that I do, the incline cable curl, I have a variation that I do at home and another day where I have a lever arm attached to my rack and I put my arm behind my body. That's what you're gonna wanna look out for in terms of specifically replicating that movement pattern. Your shoulder and your elbow has to be behind your body. You curl and you keep them there. I really like my ghetto home setup as well. You could do an incline curl with dumbbells. You can use the chest expander. Alex just made a video about that actually. Now for the hammer curls, I just made a video bemoaning the many benefits of hammer curls and how I feel they're underrated, but there's a bunch of variations you can do. Check that video out. Just succinctly, I got the Herc curls and then the Preacher hammer curls. There's machines that do the same thing. You can use them with dumbbells, doesn't really matter. If you hate hammer curls, all my homies hate hammer curls for some reason, you can do reverse curls. They work similar muscle groups. In terms of abs, I have the Holy Ab Training Trinity video. My favorite 3 ab exercises. It doesn't really matter as long as you're training your abs hard and weighted and often. In terms of calves, same thing. There's not a whole lot you can do wrong in terms of that. That's all she wrote, fellas. I'm gonna have the full template in the pinned comment. I have a few videos up on the screen that I recommend that you watch. If you like this one, make sure to check those out. And I will see y'all next time in episode 3. Have a great day.